Ever lay awake wondering if we're alone in the universe? Or maybe you're more of a what if we're not alone and things go really wrong kind of thinker.
Hmm.
Well, today's Deep Dives takes us straight into that unsettling but fascinating territory.
Yeah.
We're looking at a story, it's about colonizing Mars. And let's just say it gets real complicated.
Yeah, it's a classic sci-fi setup, but with this really thought-provoking twist. We often, we romanticize space exploration so much,
Right.
but this story reminds us that even with all the advanced technology, humanity's baggage,
Yeah.
that comes along for the ride too.
Oh, yeah. And believe me, this Martian society, they've got baggage. The story paints them as this utopia piece, technology that would make Elon Musk jealous. The works.
It's true.
They even see Earth as this, lagging behind practically prehistoric planet. Talk about a reality check, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty ironic, isn't it, that all the advancements that set them apart are also what make their fall from grace that much more jarring?
Oh, for sure.
Because what starts as utopia very quickly becomes a fight for survival.
Because enter this mysterious infection. Now, I won't spoil all the gory details, but let's just say it's one of those patient zero sneezes and suddenly the whole planet is in lockdown situations. Except, well, 1,000 times worse.
And this is where the story, I think it taps into our very real anxieties about pandemics and biohazards. Except instead of a virus we understand, it's something completely unknown.
Yeah.
Something that transforms its victims in ways that, well, let's just say it makes a zombie apocalypse look like a picnic.
Definitely not the souvenir you want to bring back from your Mars vacation.
So, facing this planetary nightmare, the remaining Martians have to make a choice. Cling to their dying world or attempt a desperate escape to
Sure.
the one place they always considered primitive,
Yeah.
Earth.
And that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about outrunning a threat at that point.
Yeah.
It's about carrying the weight of their civilization's legacy, their knowledge, their failures,
Right.
and somehow trying to rebuild on a planet they barely recognized.
It's like showing up at your ancestral home only to find out it's a fixer-upper of prehistoric proportions.
Oh, no.
We're talking dinosaurs roaming around, no wifey.
Oh, man.
Talk about roughing it. It really highlights the immense challenge of terraforming a planet, not just technologically, but ethically, too. I mean, here you have these survivors essentially holding the fate of two planets in their hands.
Wow.
What would you do? Would you cling to the familiar, even if it means certain doom, or gamble on the unknown, even if it means making impossible choices?
So picture this. You're just a Martian apocalypse crash landed on Earth, which happens to be in its dinosaur roaming phase.
Right.
Not exactly the welcome wagon you were hoping for,
Yeah,
right?
no, not quite. It really puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This idea of vast timescales. I mean, we're here worried about the latest gadgets, and this story throws us back to a time when the big concern was, a T-Rex deciding you look like lunch.
Yeah, talk about reality check. And it's not like these Martian refugees can just, order takeout from the Paleolithic era. Exactly.
They've got to rebuild from scratch using whatever scraps of tech they managed to salvage.
It's a monumental task.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they have to grapple with these huge decisions about how to reshape this new old Earth.
Right, because they're carrying all the trauma of their lost civilization, but also the knowledge of what caused it.
Precisely. It's a heavy burden to bear.
Okay, so here's where things get really interesting. Faced with a prehistoric Earth and with their own history as this, cautionary tale, the survivors decide to nudge things along a bit.
Nudge things along.
Let's just say a little asteroid intervention, just to, reset the planet's climate.
Wow. Talk about a drastic measure. Desperate times, right? But it's rooted in this really fascinating blend of scientific understanding and, sheer desperation. Yeah. The story doesn't shy away from the reality of what they're doing, either essentially wiping out an entire ecosystem to make way for their own.
It makes you think about the immense power we have, even with the best intentions, the potential for both creation and destruction.
Totally. And speaking of destruction, that whole asteroid wiping out the dinosaurs thing, that's not just sci-fi.
No, not at all. It's the most likely theory for what happened. It's widely accepted that an asteroid impact played a huge role in the extinction of the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
This story just takes that concept and puts humans in the driver's seat.
And as we all know, drivers don't always make the best decisions. So spoiler alert, the asteroid does its job. Dinosaurs gone, ice age, you bet. Humanity gets its second chance on Earth, but at a cost.
It's a bittersweet victory, isn't it? Even with their advanced technology, they can't escape the consequences of their actions. And over generations, something else gets lost too.
What's that?
Their memories of Mars. Their advanced technology fades. It's like their past becomes this blurry photograph, the details lost to time.
It's like all those ancient civilizations on Earth, right? We only have fragments of their stories, their knowledge lost to time. Makes you wonder what we've already forgotten.
Absolutely. It's a humbling thought. We tend to think of progress as this straight line always moving forward. But history is more like a spiral. We keep circling back on ourselves, forgetting lessons, repeating mistakes. This story just shows us that on a cosmic scale.
And here's the kicker. Remember that whole Martian plague we talked about? The one they were running from? Well, it turns out some things never truly stay buried, especially when they're lurking on a seemingly lifeless planet, just one planet over.
Oh no, you're kidding? The story ends with that threat still looming.
It does. The story ends with this really unsettling image. Humanity rebuilding on Earth, totally oblivious to the dormant threat just hanging out on Mars. It's like a cosmic to-do list they forgot about chilling,
Oh wow.
right? So we've got humanity back on Earth, picking up the pieces after someone hit the planetary reset button. And they're totally clueless that a planet killer is basically just hanging out on Mars, like some kind of cosmic to-do list they forgot about.
Yeah, it's almost like that classic horror movie trope, just when you think it's safe to go back in the water.
Right, right.
But in this case, the water is, well, it's the entire vastness of space.
Huh.
And the monster, a microscopic menace that could wipe them all out again.
And the worst part is, they can't even blame bad writing for not seeing it coming. I mean, this new Earth society, they don't even remember the Martian plague, let alone have any way to fight it. It's a disaster waiting to happen.
It really makes you think. The story never explicitly states it, but you feel that underlying tension. That question lingers even after you finish it. It's like a warning about the arrogance of thinking that just because we're technologically advanced, we've outrun our past.
It's like you think you finally outsmarted your spam folder, but it's been learning your every move this whole time.
Exactly. We get so caught up in the excitement of the future, all the possibilities. But stories like this, they remind us that the past has a way of catching up. It makes you wonder, what are we ignoring in our rush to progress? Are we really ready for the consequences? Even the ones we don't see coming.
It makes you want to stock up on, like, industrial-sized quantities of hand sanitizer for the whole planet.
Right.
But seriously, it really makes you think about the responsibility we have as we explore space.
Absolutely. Even though it's fictional, this story is a powerful reminder. When we journey into the future, we're not just bringing ourselves. We bring all our baggage, our flaws, our potential for both amazing things and terrible destruction. So the question is, what will we choose to learn from our past as we take those steps into the unknown? That's something I hope everyone listening will think about, even after this deep dive is over.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We've covered a lot today. A Martian utopia gone very, very wrong. A prehistoric Earth getting a bit of an unexpected makeover. It's been a wild ride through all the possibilities and maybe impossibilities of colonizing space. And it reminds us that sometimes the most incredible journeys, the ones that take us to the stars, well, they also force us to confront the shadows. And hey, if this got you thinking, if you want to explore this whole Martian apocalypse a little more in depth, you can find a link to the full story down in the show notes. And until next time, stay curious.